Hello, welcome back. Today I'm going to be explaining how to use my second project, which is a note taker. And so the main reason why I wanted to build this note taker was it kind of adds on to my history from my previous calculator project, and I wanted to expand on that. And also, note taker is just a useful application in general, like it's on your iPhone, things like that. So I want to explain first that all these notes that you take on this application are going to be in another file called nates.json. And so this is useful because it gets to save your notes. So when you reopen the file, you get to have all your past notes saved and ready to edit. So let me do a quick demonstration. Oh wait, I'm in the wrong file. Okay. CD. Okay. So as you can see, the first thing that you see is a menu, and there's a lot of options: add, note, delete, edit, view, search, and clear, and exit. So the first thing I'm gonna do is add a note. So I'm gonna type number one, and then I could type whatever note I want to add. For example, hello, today is Monday. And then that makes it really easy to view your notes. So I could press 4 to view that note. Hello, today is Monday. And I could clear it. I could press 6 and then I'll clear my notes. And so now if I view it, I'll be able to see that there are no notes in my note taker. And obviously there's options like delete note. So let me add a quick note. Hello. So if I press 2, I get to delete my first note by typing in 1, like that. And so overall, this was a pretty, I would say, straightforward project that I implemented. Again, like my calculator project, it's run on one function called start. So if I walk through start, the first thing you would notice is that I save the notes in a function called load notes. So this function calls this method, which uses the JSON import. And so that import is basically what allows me to create another file when I start up the project or the application. And so with load notes, I check to see if they already have notes in their file. And if they do, then I would return an array of those notes. And I would do that with the open.load method of the JSON import open function. And if I see that they don't have any notes, then I would just return an empty list, because a list is how I'm going to keep track of all of the notes. And so these two except clauses are for if there's no file there, then yeah, it would just return an empty list. And if there's a decode error, meaning that there's something wrong with the file, like the JSON file isn't a list, or it's maybe say like a dictionary, then it wouldn't work and it'll output an empty list again. So that's why it's important. That's important because if someone messes up this file, then they're gonna lose all their data, and then it would have to return a new list. And after that, after I load the notes, then I'll print welcome to note taker, and then this is pretty straightforward. It's just a while loop, and each while iteration would just be the user using one action, and it's just a lot of choices about what type of action that they want. So as you can see in the terminal, there's 7 options, and here there's 7 if statements that do their respective actions, and this else statement is for if they don't type the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they type something else, then I'll ask them to try again, and then the while loop will run again. And I can kind of go through some of these functions. They're I would say they're pretty straightforward. For add notes, I use my input function to get information from the user. Then I would append that note to the notes array, which can be converted into that file. And so as you can see, I call the save notes function because it's important to every single time they add a note, it auto updates. So when add notes calls save notes, the save notes function, let me see. Here, it saves the, basically this open function takes the information from the array notes and then it dumps it into the file up here, which, and with this function json.dump. And then this indent is just for formatting purposes. Like for example, if I did, let's see, add note hello, then if we look on the file, it updates hello, and then the indent just means like how much is indented there. So if I change the indent, for example, to like 8, then when I add another note, like hello again, the indent will be more forward. So it'll go, oh no, it didn't update because it didn't update the terminal. Let me do that real quick. So, like now that it's 8, if I add a note, then as you can see, they move forward another 4 indents, which is why it's important to, have good indenting, because like you don't want the words to appear all the way over there. And so going back to my add notes function, like again, it calls a save notes function, and then if there are no notes, then I'll print note cannot be empty, as in like their input was nothing. And for view notes, I did it in a way so that there would be numbers. So say I add another note, like hello again. And then if I use view notes, then as you can see, there's 4 notes that I have, and they're labeled 1, 2, 3, 4. And I did that with the enumerate function, which basically outputs a number as well, including with like each object in the notes. And so when it says print f string index note, it'll just be like, for example, index would be 1 and note would be hello. So I'll print 1 hello. And for delete notes, it was pretty straightforward as well. I asked the user for a number, and then that number would be the note that they want to delete. So I did that. I stored that number in delete index, and then I had to make sure that the index was within the number of notes, because say you only have 5 notes, you can't call like delete note on like note number 10 if note number 10 doesn't exist. And I also use save notes again, just to make sure that every time they're deleting or adding, the actual file gets saved. And so like if they leave the file on accident, their work will still be saved. For edit note, it works similar to delete note. They basically had to choose a note to edit, and so I asked them for a number again, and then you can edit it. I edited it by just doing notes bracket edit index equals edited note. Clear notes is easy as well. All I had to do was just do a .clear function. And I want to go over search notes because this was a bit more interesting. So how it would work was, say I had like my notes here. So say I decided to search for a note. In my 4 notes here, these are all technically strings. So I could search like hello, and then it'll give me all of these strings back because all of them include hello. But if I did again, if I search for again, then it would only give me hello again and hello again, because only those 2 have the words again. And I can also do something like this, like LLOAG. So, oh wait, sorry, search and then LLOAG. So basically, the string doesn't have to be just a word, it could be like a phrase, and so it could literally be within these 2 words, because again, this data structure is just a string, so I could search through any string I want. So in this case, it would be ELLO with a space and then AG. And so I basically did that I did another input function which got the phrase or word that they wanted, and then I would search, and then I would make an array called found that would add on. I would append to that array every single time I found a note that had that phrase in it, and I searched if the phrase was in the note by just doing a simple if search note was in note.lower. And this lower function makes it so that in case the original note was uppercase and then they search for something in the lowercase, it would still match. And then I did the enumerate function again to kind of list out the notes that matched. And then at the end, I printed like matching notes, as you can see here. So say matching notes, and then I'll print all the notes in the found array. And at the end, if there was no notes in the found array, then it would just print no matches found. So for example, if I did search and then I did peanuts, nothing would be found, so it would say no matches found. And so yeah, that's basically my whole note taker project. The search notes was definitely the most interesting part in my opinion, and also using the JSON file. I think it's cool that you gotta just have the file saved automatically even if you exit out. And yeah, if you guys have any questions, leave it in the comments below. Thank you.